With emotions running high after a big election, it's no surprise that some kids might be feeling a little anxious and overwhelmed. But what can we do to help them process all these big emotions in a healthy way? In Steadfast Parenting, How to Raise Children of Character, educator, counselor, and parent Patricia McGann shares practical advice to navigate the bumpy, unpredictable road of parenting. Patricia, thanks for joining us. And I read that you have 5 adult children and 14 grandkids. Is that correct?
I actually have 15 grandchildren now, Desiree, and one more on the way.
Okay, so you've definitely gone through elections with your kiddos. And I mean, we know adults, they were stressed about pre-election results, but explain how maybe that also impacted kids and their own anxiety.
The truth is that anxious parents can make anxious children, and our children have been watching us, and we've all felt the stress of this election, and we've been fearful oftentimes, and our children have sensed that they don't miss that in us, and so they can feel anxious now and wonder what's going to happen, and they need to feel safe, and so it's our job to give them some strategies to deal with their anxiety.
Yeah, so tell us, how can parents do that? How can they ease those post-election anxiety for kids?
One of the first things I would say is keep your anxiety to yourself. And don't share it with your children, but also limiting their exposure to the news and social media conversations about the election and the aftermath. It would be important. And for teenagers, if they're interested in hearing about it on the news or on social media, then talk about it with them so that they're not hearing it in a vacuum.
Yeah. And to that point, I mean, when it comes to politics, kids, like you said, they're so exposed to so much information, like you said, on social media. How can parents help their kids kind of better understand all the unlimited information without it becoming overwhelming?
Yeah, I think it's important to talk about what a democracy is, and I think that's the beauty of our country. Our democracy thrives on the exchange of different ideas, and explaining that to our children is great, especially as children get older. You know, talking about the cycle of election and talking about history, where every year half the country's disappointed, right? And yet we move forward and we still have this wonderful country. So expressing true gratitude for the fact that we can go and vote, where many people cannot.
And when we're talking about kids and teens, they might not agree with mom and dad's political views or their friends' political views. So how can parents best navigate differing political views with their own kids?
Yeah, I think that's can be particularly anxiety producing for kids if they're back at school and they hear other children talking about their candidate won or their candidate lost and all of that. And I think it's really important to give younger children a script and a game plan. What is your 10-year-old going to do if kids are talking about, you know, they hate the new president or they hated the old president and all of that. And I think it's important to provide your kids with a script. This is boring. I'm going to go play soccer, or this is not something that interests me, so I'm going to go over here and shoot baskets. Kids need to know that they can do that and remove themselves from those situations. Obviously, with teenagers, the discussions need to be respectful and to teach our kids to disagree respectfully, and it's okay to disagree respectfully with us or with their friends.
And your book helps with that. So tell us about your book, Steadfast Parenting, and how this can be used now during political season and election results.
So I do have a lot of techniques listed in the book for dealing with anxiety. And I think it's important for parents to see the difference between stress and real anxiety. Some stress can be good for us. It's good for us to feel a little bit of stress. We get a little bit more hyper, we're more focused on things. That's a good thing. Anxiety, on the other hand, can freeze us and keep us from being productive. And so there are a lot of techniques in the book for that. And there's also that connection between parent and child that cannot be replaced in any way by anyone else. And opening the channels of communication, allowing our children to talk to us about what they're feeling, encouraging them to label what it is they're afraid of or worried about.
Yeah, I think.
And then you can dispel a lot of anxiety that way.
Yeah, well, I think you hit it. I mean, having that open communication with your kids, and then your book being a helpful resource as well. Patricia, thanks so much for joining us. And you can get a copy of Patricia's book, Steadfast Parenting, wherever books are sold.